All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to welcome everyone again. We have a very loose title for when we come and we do programs called Dinosaurs, Design, and Destiny. It's when we come in somewhere and we teach about the trustworthiness of this book. My name is Matt Miles. I am the president of Creation Truth Foundation. We are a creation and biblical worldview training ministry out of Central Oklahoma. And we've been here all week. Those of you that this might be your first night, we've been here since Sunday afternoon. And so please check out the church's YouTube page because they have recorded all the things that I've been teaching. And so check those out. Regretfully, this is our last night. We have to pack up. We have to drive all the way home tomorrow, not just part way. We have to get all the way home. It's going to be a day. Anyways, it's what we're called to. Tonight's message is one that is very, very personal to me. As I've stated over and over again this week, I believe the history and what is written in this book is absolute truth. Now listen, if you're here and you don't agree with me, I'm really, really glad you're here. My prayer tonight is that you will listen for 2 seconds. I want to give you a thought tonight, a biblical thought about dinosaurs. I can't tell you the number of people that I come across that will give me funny looks when I say the Bible and dinosaurs. I might have been one of those at one point in my life. Because the topic tonight, dinosaurs, is a topic that we never discussed in church growing up. Dinosaurs was never brought up. And so I kind of grew up going, I don't know. I mean, they're here, obviously. They were here at some point because we've got fossils. Now listen, if you're here tonight and you're on the side that says they've never even existed, I'm really glad you're here too. My first point this evening is they've existed. Now, for me, it was never an issue whether they existed or not. For me growing up, I never had a problem with the time frame that is suggested for them millions of years ago. Because growing up, if somebody would have asked me about the history in this book, in the Bible, I couldn't have told them 6,000 years. I couldn't have said that. Like, I don't recall ever learning that the history in this book, if we just open it up, start reading and get through it, to now is 6,000 years. That's it. I couldn't have said that. So I didn't know I had a problem with my thought about millions and billions of years, whatever. I didn't know I had a problem. But then I was in ministry. God called me to ministry, and I was in student ministry. I was teaching students all the time. And every once in a while, a student would come up and go, "Hey, man, what about the dinosaurs?" And I was like, maybe they all died in the flood. That was my answer. Without any study. That was my, I trusted, listen, in history, in the book of Genesis, 1,656 years into history, according to this book, we had a worldwide flood. It seemed to reason it probably killed dinosaurs to me, without knowing anything else. I remember vividly telling a 5th grade young man at a camp that I was deaning, a 5th and 6th grade camp early in ministry. I was sitting on the porch, just trying to catch my breath right before lunch. And he comes up and sits down. I remember vividly sitting down next to me on the bench and asking me, "Matt, what about dinosaurs?" And I'm like, flood maybe. I pray for him often. Because I didn't tell him the whole truth. Because I didn't know it. Regretfully, I didn't know it. So in 2001, I was at a youth ministry convention where I was learning how to teach students better the Word of God. And one afternoon, at one of our sessions, I walked into the chapel there where we were having the conference, and on the stage is what you see. And I remember walking in going, What is going on? Why are there dinosaurs on the stage at a youth ministry convention? Like, what's going on? And Dr. Sharp, the founder of our ministry, walked out and gave a biblical view to me for the first time in my whole entire life of a dinosaur. I sat on like the third row, and I sat there and I was getting all excited. I'm like, what? Like, one, this seems reasonable, more than reasonable. And then I went from feeling really good about this because I learned something new about dinosaurs in the Bible, and then I just got mad. I got really mad. I got ticked. I was fuming mad by the end of the hour because I grew up in the church. I was a Bible college graduate. And I never heard this. I was ticked. I called my wife that night from the conference. I called my wife and I said, honey, do you remember us ever studying anything about dinosaurs in the Bible in Bible college? Listen, I'll admit, I wasn't the greatest student. Like, I did enough. I did enough to get... I'll admit it. I'm way more focused now than I was when I was younger. When I was you guys, oh man, I was squirrely. Anyways, the Lord touched me. I've always kind of had a passion for science stuff. Kind of always liked science stuff. I've kind of always liked dinosaurs, but I just never knew how to deal with them with this. Because I was taught that they are prehistoric, right? Who's heard the term? Tonight, my message is entitled, Dinosaurs, those great historic creatures. See, prehistoric means what? What does that mean to you? Before history, before time, right? Before time. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 says, anybody have that memorized? What you got? Give it to me. Come on.
In the beginning, God created the earth.
The heavens and the earth. Very good. Come on. In the beginning of what? We covered this the other day. For those of you that weren't here, that literally means, the Hebrew word therefore, in the beginning, can literally be translated in English also, the start of time. Time starts. Starts in the first verse in all of Scripture. So that means if that's when the clock started ticking, how long have we had history? Since the very beginning. AKA, otherwise known as, no prehistoric. According to the Word of God. Now, I come across folks, every once in a while, I'll come across somebody that will say this to me. Well, prehistoric just means before man. All right, so if you're going to get that sticky about it, I will give you 5 days. Because the Lord made us on day 6. So I'll give you 5 days of prehistoric time. If you really want to ride with before us, then I'll give you 5 days, all right? I trust this history. I've never read, studied anything that says that its history is not right, that 6,000 years isn't right. So right now, you and I, we find dinosaurs everywhere. Who's had them? Just raise your hand if you've had them. All right, yeah. Pre-chewed chicken in a nugget. Just curious. Who's seen this? This is my worldview test. I see what I'm doing right now is I'm figuring out what's been implanted in your brain. That's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure out what you've learned. Land before time. Just the title I have a problem with biblically. Time was first. Land didn't show up till day 3. Check the text. Chapter 1, Genesis. Okay? Dinosaur train? Anybody? Everybody seen Dinosaur Train? Hop on this train, go back in time, learn about a dinosaur, learn about behavior of dinosaurs. It's just a cartoon. But at the end, grandmas and grandpas, focus. At the end of the show, it ceases being a cartoon when a real-life paleontologist walks out and reinforces what the cartoon was teaching. So we may sit here as adults and go, what's a cartoon about dinosaurs? Teaching an evolutionary worldview about them. Anyone? Anyone? Remember this one? There it is. There it is. I'm identifying with a slightly older crowd. Everyone in the front row is like, I have no idea who that is. All these guys on the front row, they're like, that guy's walking a dinosaur and he's smoking. There's all kinds of problems there, right? I had to include this one. Several years ago, I was doing an event, and this sweet older couple comes up to me at the end of my presentation and he goes, hey, Matt, what about alley-oop? And I had to say, I don't even know who you're talking about. I'm sorry. And they broke into that song together. And I went, okay, I got to Google alley-oop then, because he obviously impacted worldviews, belief systems. I said, tell me about alley-oop. She said, well, he had a dinosaur as a pet. I went, oh, all right, I'll Google him. I grew up with these guys. Come on. Yabba dabba. All right, so little did I understand this cartoon, less evolutionary, because we were living with dinosaurs. We even domesticated them. We had them as pets. We used them in work. Fred worked where? In a quarry, and he used what in quarrying? Brontosauruses. Now, let me start by bursting bubbles this evening. At the time when that cartoon was being produced, we had a brontosaurus. The problem was, nearing the end of the time when that cartoon was made, we realized a brontosaurus actually wasn't a dinosaur. It wasn't. Here's how it wasn't. Paleontology is the study of fossils. Sometimes you only find, most times actually, you only find pieces and parts of something. Well, we had found, at some point, we had found a body of a long-necked dinosaur. But the long-necked dinosaur was missing a head. But then a head was found not too far away. So those of you that were here last night, what's the danger when we find some things apart from each other? How do we know for sure they go together? We don't, but then there's assumptions made. So there's this head that was found by itself and this dinosaur without a head, and they put them together and they named it the Brontosaurus, the thunder lizard. And it was embedded in all of us, myself included. And then they found the same dinosaur sometime later with a head, and it wasn't the same one. Uh-oh. So in paleontology, Brontosaurus kind of went away. Did it in all of us, the general public's mind? No, because it was in Flintstones. They ate the ribs in Flintstones, right? So things impact our worldview, even cartoons. Even when they don't have science to back them up. Or when science has discovered something new and it never makes it to the rest of us. Okay? But by and large, the series that I must deal with the most, Jurassic Park. Who's seen all three of the first ones? Okay, all right. Now listen, when I first saw Jurassic Park, okay, none of you guys were here yet. It was 93, okay, 1993. It was the last century. Okay. When the T-Rex screamed at Dr. Grant, When he was trying to eat the kids inside the upturned Explorer. Remember that scene? And Dr. Grant gets out with his flare, waves his flare, and the T-Rex turns around, and the first time on screen, a T-Rex screams. Like right now, I'm saying that to you. I hear it in my head right now. I hear the scream. And the hair is rising on the back of my neck. It does every time. I talk about this all the time. Every time it still rises on the back of my neck. That's how impactful that moment was in a movie. It's a movie. We did not record a T-Rex screaming. It's a movie. It's a movie. Most of us see them as movies. Not everyone sees them as movies. Have we ever heard a T-Rex do anything? What's the predominant sound of reptiles? Every once in a while, some alligators and crocodiles will guttural growl. Not very many. The predominant sound of reptiles is hissing. What makes us think that this reptile is going to be different? Because if he would have turned around at Dr. Grant in the movie and went, we wouldn't have paid the money we paid to go see a movie. Like that's so there's a worldview being taught to us about these. I didn't know sitting there that Steven Spielberg took a train horn, elephant bay, and several other sounds, meshed them together to make the T-Rex sound. I didn't know that. All I knew sitting in a movie theater is wow, I just heard a T-Rex. Whoa! And the hair is still standing up on the back of my head. Right there. Then Jurassic World comes along. Who's seen Jurassic World? 1, 2, 3, and now 4. Everybody seen the new one? The rebirth. They're starting it all over again. Listen, we're gonna have Jurassics from now till Jesus comes back. I'm just warning you, because they make money. These guys make money. Dinosaurs make money, so they're gonna make more movies. There's more coming. Anyway, okay, so Jurassic World. First time I see Jurassic World, I'm by myself in a movie theater. Because I was asked to debrief a bunch of students and their parents that were going to go see it later in the week. They said, Matt, while you're here, would you debrief us? Like they're showing Jurassic World at our little theater in our little town, and we want to encourage parents and their kids to go see it. I went, that's not a great idea, 1. 2, it's going to be, I haven't seen it. It's going to be scary. Like, there's going to be how young are kids are we recommending this? Well, whoever wants to, I'm like, no. But I realize they're going to do it anyways. So I want to debrief them. I absolutely want to debrief them. But I'm not going to debrief them cold turkey. I'm going to go see it myself. So I went first. I'm sitting in the theater by myself. And this is the opening scene of Jurassic World. Please watch. At this moment in the theater, I let out a guttural, oh no. There was no music, there was no titles, there was no credits, there was no nothing before that comes on the screen. Like the previews of the movies before, and all that was just finished. Everything went dark, and that was what started the whole thing, Jurassic World. I sat there and I went, no. Now listen, I've been around a little while. I've seen the movies. I was expecting, I'm there to see a dinosaur movie. So when the foot comes down, what's the first thought? Yeah, that's a dinosaur foot. That's a T-Rex or an Albertosaurus. My first thought was Albertosaurus. We have an Albertosaurus. We just don't have it in this fossil collection with me. And that foot looks very similar. My brain was there. And then it pans back, and it's attached to a bird. And I went, oh, no. This is going to be a long movie. But really, they didn't talk not much about birds and dinosaurs yet. Until Dominion, the third one, which they thought was going to be the last one. But it made money, so they decided, let's do another one. This one, it didn't matter any longer. See, they had put feathered dinosaurs, listen to me, they had put feathered dinosaurs in previous movies, and the groups that they show movies to early on to kind of give a gauge of how the movie is, you know, how's it going to react with the crowd. People kept going, why are there feathers on the dinosaur? So they whacked all those. But the third one comes along, Dominion comes along, it's the last one. Who cares now? So we saw a pyroraptor. I'm not spoiling it if you haven't seen it. This is in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. It's a fully feathered dinosaur. Stands about this tall in the movie, okay? Can you tell what climate he lives in? Yeah, it's cold. It's snowing. How many times have you seen a reptile out in the snow? Just curious. Is that something we regularly see? No. No. They don't do well. They're cold-blooded, right? 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 Cold-blooded reptiles, cold-blooded, right? Right? That means what? What does that mean to you? Talk to me. They don't produce their own warmth. They rely on the sun or their environment around them, right? To produce whatever. So whatever temperature their environment is what they are, right? So 32 degrees or cooler. Not good. Okay. Well, this one had feathers. Now here's the thing. Have you ever looked up a pyroraptor? Here's what I did. I said, one, I want to know if this is an actual dinosaur. Like, do we actually have material, fossil material, of a pyroraptor? Like, is this a legit dinosaur, or are we just totally making one up just for a movie? We have a pyroraptor. It has been found. Now, look at me. Focus. Everybody else, too. Focus. Do this with me. It's right here. About 1.5 feet. That is the tallest pyroraptor ever found in the fossil record. 1.5 feet. Not this tall, this tall. Don't even have all the bones of a pyroraptor. We have about 60% of the animal. Decent amount. That's actually a pretty good amount. Guess how many feathers are found on that fossil? You are right. 0. There's not one feather. There's not one hair on that fossil. It's a movie. It's a movie teaching a world view. Teaching a world view. Tonight, I want to affect your worldview. Your worldview is a set of beliefs that you have. Like you've been studying, students up front, right? That you've been studying your whole life, right? You've been learning things. You learn things at school. You learn things from mom and dad. You learn things when you go to a movie. You learn things when you read a book. You learn things when you go to a museum. You learn things when you're out studying in creation. You learn things all the time. They impact how you believe, how you see things all around you. So tonight, I want to impact your worldview about dinosaurs, and I want to start with this first. See, there's 2 ideas of how we got here. 2 ideas out there. I have people that fuss at me and say, well, Matt, there's like in-between ones. No, I see them this way or that. It's either the way the Lord said he did it in this text, the upper side of the slide, or it's an evolutionary worldview, the bottom side of the slide. I need to start tonight in Exodus chapter 20. In Exodus chapter 20, I shared this verse the other day, but it's important that we read it tonight. Because what I get a lot is, Matt, I've had people tell me God did not create dinosaurs. So I've asked before, so who did? I've gotten Satan created them before. And then I will immediately follow that answer with, please give me chapter and verse where Satan has the power to create anything. As much as I do not think we should underestimate him, let's not give him too much. Let's not give him stuff that he doesn't have power over. He is by no means a creator. He is only a destroyer. He is here to steal, kill, and destroy. That's biblical. So in Exodus chapter 20, it says this. God writes by his own finger. In the Ten Commandments, he writes this. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. And he rested on the seventh. How much of things that have existed anywhere in the entire universe were made in the first week? How many things? Everything. Everything that has ever existed, that verse says, with absolute truth, he made it all. Whether it's something you like or not, he made it anyways. See, there's this tendency that reptiles are not high on everybody's favorite list. Snakes and things, right? Who doesn't care much for a snake? Come on, fess up. See, my wife would be like, reptiles are just not high on the priority list of most folk, right? And so when you get Exodus chapter 20, verse 11. So when you get a reptile this big, come on. Like the immediate response I usually get from people about dinosaurs is, but they were evil. And I have to ask you, when was the last time you met one? Have you met one? Like, I want to know. Like, see, we have a worldview, don't we? We have a worldview about them. And we've never observed them. But we have a worldview. We have a belief system. When are we told they went extinct? Come on, give me the date. 160,000? Wrong answer. Don't you love it when your teacher says, hang on, I'm going to clarify you. I'm going to help you. I know where you're going. What is it? 66 million. Thank you, sir. Now, why do you know that? Oh, yes, because I corrected you the other night. All right, so now listen. Teachers always remember they're good students. Okay, so now listen. How have we been told they went extinct 66 million years ago? By the way, I'm getting to it. It's now 66. If you were thinking 65 and didn't want to raise your hand, that used to be the date. I'll show you. Just wait. Okay. How did they go extinct? What have you heard? Asteroid. Who's heard the asteroid? Where did the asteroid hit the planet that killed the dinosaurs? What have you heard? In Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, near the Yucatan Peninsula, there's a Chicxulub crater. Yeah, I had to practice that a lot in my office already. All right, because it doesn't sound like it's spelled. Okay, anyways, the Chicxulub crater. Did we observe it 66 million years ago hit the earth? Everybody just shake your head. No, we did not observe it. Did you know? I don't have time to talk about this tonight, but I'm going to bring it up. The rabbit's heading and I'm chasing. Look, there are geologists on the planet that don't even agree that is a crater from an asteroid. Listen to me. Just because we hear something on the news, we might not always want to grab a hold of it. I'm sitting eating frosted mini wheats one morning. I never eat breakfast at home. Guys, I've been eating breakfast while I've been here at the hotel because they have green chilies that I can put on everything. Yeah, it's been good. Man, it's been good. I'm like going to go home and my stomach's going to be like, hello, where's my chilies? Okay, all right. So I'm eating breakfast in front of a TV, in front of Fox News. I never even turned on Fox News in the morning when I had Fox News, but that morning I did. That morning, that moment, a news story comes on Fox News. All scientists now agree it was an asteroid that drove the dinosaurs to extinction, and I about choked on my mini wheats. I'm like, that is false. That is not a true statement. I got a little excited. Can you tell I do that once in a while? Okay, so I've been told I yell. Anyway, I'm like, I know evolutionary paleontologists that don't agree with that statement. They cannot make the statement, all science agrees that it was an asteroid. My technical term, my scientific term for that is hooey. That's ridiculous. Lord, thank you for having me eat mini wheats and turn on the TV at that moment. Like, I can't explain it any other way for me to hear that news story. And they just stated that, and then they went on to the next thing. And I'm like, no, go back. Give me the paper that comes out of. Give me the evidence for that. So we've been taught in museums, in shows, in cartoons, asteroid 66 million years ago. It used to be 65. Literally in the last year and a half to 2 years, it's in the process of being changed across the board. Bob and I, we were at the University of Kansas in Lawrence. We went up to the Natural History Museum to go see some specimens. This specimen right over here that we have a research copy of, this is Bunker, the famous specimen Bunker of a Tylosaurus, found in Kansas, 45-foot marine reptile found in Kansas. The original is at the Natural History Museum at KU. Wanted to go see it for myself, so Bob and I went up there. I'm looking at one of these. See, they have some originals of Zophaectinus too. These are found in Kansas too. That's a 12-foot long fish. I always want to say, in Oklahoma, we got this thing called noodling. Have you ever heard of that in New Mexico? What? Noodling? Does anybody have any idea about that? Like, that's the craziest thing I have ever heard. When I first moved to Oklahoma, I was like, hey, what? You get in a river, and then you find a hole under the water, and you stick your arm in, and you grab whatever's in there. Yeah. Are you kidding me? We have alligators, snapping turtles, and all kinds of stuff in Oklahoma. Can you imagine having one of those guys right there in that hole? Yeah, so much for him. Bill was a nice guy. Okay, so look on the sign. Look on the sign. Look at this. They had just changed the sign when I was there. Like, I'm looking at it going, why is that second number weird? Like, because they literally put a sticker over it and put 6. It's a university. My whole thought was like, you're the University of Kansas, just remake the sign. Like, come on, guys. Like, if that's what you're going to believe, like, remake the sign. So dinosaurs are supposed to be in these Mesozoic rocks. Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous. I need you to understand, we find dinosaurs outside of those rocks in the fossil record. We find them outside of those rocks. This little stack of rocks, nowhere on the planet do we find this stack of rocks like this right here anywhere on the planet. There are great chunks missing many, many places. So, as convenient as the geologic column is to try to explain time, it actually doesn't. It actually explains a worldwide event, a flood, way better. Go back and check. If you haven't been here, go back and check the last couple sessions on Sunday on the YouTube channel. We covered the flood, 2 sessions of it. So tonight, we're talking about dinosaurs. Fossils. Fossils are rocks. See, when I was a kid, if somebody said fossil, my brain immediately went to a dinosaur and its bones. Like, that's where my brain went, right? But they're not always. They're rocks. They're something that used to be and has been permineralized, petrified, okay? It's been petrified. It's a rock. This is coprolite. This is poopy. Now listen. How's this going to become a fossil? It dried up. You know what? If it just dries up, it doesn't become a fossil. It just goes away. Can I share with you how a fossil is made? See, I was taught, when I was you guys today, I was taught that something would die, right? And then it would slowly get buried. And then over eons and eons and eons of time, it would become a fossil, a rock, right? But the more we discover in the fossil record, the more nobody agrees with that anymore. Nobody, I don't care which side, biblical or otherwise. Because we find this. If this is not, this is one example. If this is not buried very, very quickly in lots of mud and water, we don't have it. Class, are you paying attention? How do you make a fossil? You bury it very quickly with lots of mud and water. The elk you guys hit, yeah, you just don't hit deer. I see elk coming, like that's a bad day. I'm just saying. Oh, we got to hit a deer. You guys, elk. That elk is not going to be a fossil because it's not being buried quickly. It's not. It's going to decompose. It's going to get scavenged. It's going to go away. We find fossils predominantly in sedimentary layers of rock. Most sedimentary layers of rock are laid down by water. Everyone agrees on that. And guess where we find sedimentary rock?
Mount Everest.
All over the planet, on every continent, including Antarctica, where we have found in the fossil record of Antarctica palm-type trees. So Antarctica hadn't always been Antarctica. Fossils. Look, there's a fella. He had found a piece of coprolite. This fella is the fella that worked on Jurassic Park and Jurassic Worlds with Steven Spielberg. He is the lead paleontologist, used to be the lead paleontologist professor at Montana State University. His name is Jack Horner. Here's what he said about a piece of coprolite that he found. A piece of poopy. Are you ready? Focus. You ready? He said this: coprolitic ground mass, the piece that he found, fossilized remains of undigested muscle tissue was found in it. See, that's how we know what coprolite is. Many times they're cut open and there's like stuff in them that they ate. Rapid burial of the feces probably was facilitated by a flood event. I totally agree, because floods are catastrophic, and 2, most times they're quick. And they will bury things quick. Like the exact ingredients to then later get a fossil. Isn't that interesting that this text shares very, very well that there was a flood that covered how much? All of the earth. Again, as I said the other night, I would make the guess if I read the flood in here, I would make the guess that, you know what? If the Bible says there was a flood everywhere, I would guess that we're going to find layers that have been laid down that would have been muddy. I would guess that in those muddy layers, we're going to find dead stuff. Because it killed everything that wasn't on the ark. All animals that breathed air, blood-containing, land-dwelling, or winged died in the flood. that were not on the ark? I could show you lots of things that show rapid burial. Don't have time. All right, I'm going to show you one. Fish eating a fish. How long does it take for a fish to eat a fish? Any fishermen in the room? Or fisherwomen? I'm not. Generally speaking, when a fish takes a lure, if you do not set the hook, what does he do? Spits it back out. Generally speaking, most fish, they do not sit there and go, har, 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 har. Piranhas, that's an exception. Most fish are gulpers. They're like some of you students. I've eaten with students. They're gulpers. The lunch is gone. I used to eat with students. I'd go to lunch. I didn't really eat with them. They ate and they left me. That's how that worked. They're gulpers. I cannot tell you the number of these fossils I have seen in fossil shops everywhere. Like, these are not very rare. This fish eating a fish thing, this is not very rare in the fossil record. Like, something happened quick enough that there were mud flows moving fast enough to bury things in the middle of eating their lunch. Kind of says rapid burial to me. Hello? Hello? Just nod with me. Okay, good. I remember being told at you guys' age, I remember being told mammals didn't come around until well after the dinosaurs died. So it becomes problematic when we find mammals with dinosaurs. What you see on the screen is a dinosaur, a ceratopian dinosaur, not a triceratopian dinosaur, ceratops dinosaur, but another ceratopian dinosaur with a mammal. This is the dinosaur here. This is the mammal, the size of a medium-sized dog. See, later when I did hear that, well, we did have some mammals with dinosaurs. They were like little rat things. Okay, that's not a little rat thing. That's even bigger than rats I've heard in New York City in the subway. Okay, so that's much, much bigger. And like the tagline for this fossil was like, mammal attacking dinosaur. Do we know that for sure? See, here's the thing about fossils. Fossils can only tell us so much. Well, this one, so it looks like the mammal's like biting the dinosaur. He's got one paw, claw thing in his mouth, you know. What if they're swept up in a mud flow and they're reaching for anything to survive? I can explain it exactly the same, like that. Mammal may not have been attacking the dinosaur. It could have been. Either way, what do we know for sure? They lived at the same time. Ruh-roh. That's a problem for an evolutionary worldview. See, they used to sometimes say if we find a mammal in with dinosaurs, they'll say, well, that's one that was like redeposited, or, you know, that's an anomaly. But we have them hanging on to each other. That's less of an anomaly to me. Guys, I need you to understand, the Lord created dinosaurs on day 6. Turn with me back to Genesis chapter 1 for a second. I want to bring to your attention a couple of words that can include dinosaurs that's in the Bible. Did you know the word dinosaur is not in the Bible? It's not. I've looked in lots of different translations. It's not there. But there are a couple of words. Tanim and Behema. Say it with me. Tanim, Behema. Let me share with you those two words in the first chapter of Genesis. We're on day 5 when he made all water creatures and winged creatures. It says in verse 24, so God created the great creatures of the sea. That great creature of the sea, that is Tanim. Say it with me again. Tanim. 20 times that word in the Old Testament is translated dragon in the King James. What's the picture in your head when I say dragon? Students, come on. Talk to me. Give me a thought. Toothless. Toothless. How to Train a Dragon. That's How to Train a Dragon, grandparents. That's a movie. It's a fun movie about dragons and us living together. Okay. Describe a dragon. Give me something a dragon has. Somebody else. What? Wings. Very good. A dinosaur with wings. Yes.
A weird-looking reptile that breathes fire.
Oh, a weird reptile that breathes fire. Any other class members? Scales. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about dragons. We're going to come back to it in just a second. Did you know that in every civilization on the planet, all people groups on the planet have stories, myths, or legends about things that we would call dragons. They are not always winged. They are not always fire-breathing. But you know what they always are?
What?
Scaly, bigger reptiles. That's the common, guys, that's the common thread of all dragon myths. Tanims were made on day 5. Come on, give me a 5. Show me a 5. Show me a 5. Come on, listen to me. 5. There we go. Now let's go to day 6. Day 6, he makes all land animals. Animals that walked on the land. Predominantly, that's where they lived. That's all they got. So here, listen for behemoth. Are you ready? We're going for the second word. Ready? Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals each according to their kind. Did you hear the word behemoth? No, that's good. That's good. No. Did you hear the word livestock? The Hebrew word is behemoth. It gets translated cattle sometimes in English. Here in this text, it gets translated livestock. Give me livestock. Talk to me. What's a livestock? When you hear that word, what's your worldview like? What's the picture? Cows, sheep, goats, horses, right? Livestock, like farm stuff, right? Farm stuff. I need you to understand something. That word does not just include cows. The word is behemoth. Literally on day 6, before he makes us, the description I just read there says that he made everything from the biggest, behemoth, to the smallest and everything in between that has ever lived on land. Please look at the... Dinosaurs are dinosaurs because they are different than all other reptiles. Reptiles today, they walk by sprawling their legs out, and they wiggle their body when they walk. All reptiles that have legs do this. Notice how dinosaurs' legs are. Dinosaurs' legs are underneath of them. That is what makes a dinosaur a dinosaur. Alligators are not dinosaurs. I don't care if they get called dinosaurs. They're not dinosaurs. Technically speaking, to be a dinosaur, you have to walk on your legs, on land, and your femur has to come up and pop into a hole in your hip. Pop in your hole. These guys, the two-legged walking ones, same way. Their hind legs come up, right angle, pop into the hip. That's what makes a dinosaur a dinosaur. Grandparents, focus. Test your grandkids the next time you see them. Is this a dinosaur? No. Why? Because he has flippers. Very good, class. He has flippers. He's not a dinosaur. Now, we lump him with dinosaurs, don't we? How about that big flying guy right back there? Flying over the book table. Is that a dinosaur? Nope. Because he spent most of his time flying. Most likely he was flying. He would have been made on what day? Day 5 with all the other winged creatures. That guy over there with the flippers would have been made when? Day 5, he's a tanin. Behemoth includes these guys. Now, why do I say that? Go with me. Go with me to Job chapter 40 for a second. Job chapter 40. The other night, when talking about the flood, how were animals saved during the flood? They were on the ark, right? God brought how many of the animals to the ark? 2 of all the unclean, but how many of the clean? 7. How many of the winged animals? 7. So now wait a minute. I just told you earlier, animals on the ark were blood-containing, land-dwelling, air-breathing, or winged. Do those descriptions, does any of that describe a dinosaur? Yeah, absolutely. They were land-dwelling. They were air-breathing. 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 They were air-breathing. They were blood-containing. I'll get to that in a second. So they fit the qualifications of stuff on the ark. But the question is, were they? See, usually when I say dinosaurs were on the ark, I have students give me really funny looks. You know why they give me funny looks? You know what they're picturing? I know what they're picturing. They're picturing Stan the T-Rex right back here at the back of the stage. 40-foot long, 12 feet tall T-Rex on the ark, eating everything on the ark. Like just going room to room. And the ark comes to rest, the door flies open, and rah! And it's just Stan. Because our worldview has taught us what about dinosaurs? That they were ferocious. They were all nasty. They were all blah, 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 blah. The velociraptors, right? The velociraptors. Like some of the meanest, nastiest. Have we ever seen them do anything? Have we ever seen them hunt in packs? Did you know paleontology doesn't agree with the hunting in packs? We've not ever found a velociraptor skeleton or fossil with other velociraptors, ever. Oh yeah, velociraptors also in the fossil record are no taller than this. It's a movie. Are you in Job? Let's read Job for a second. Chapter 40, verse 15. Okay? Chapter 40, verse 15. Let me read. Look at the behemoth, it says. Behemoth. What does that word sound like that we've already learned tonight? Behemoth. Because that's the plural form of behemoth. So Job is being shown something. Look at he's being shown something. Look at the behemoth, which I made along with you. What day of creation was this creature made on? Day 6. So he's a land animal. That tells us he's a land animal. All the above, right? Which feeds on grass like an ox. So he's an herbivore. He eats grass. Notice the animal he's compared to in this text. He's compared to an ox. He's compared to what the general idea of what a behemoth is supposed to be, cattle. He's compared to that, meaning he's not one of those. He's compared to it. Do you have footnotes in your Bibles? Come on, give me your footnote. What's your footnote say about behemoth? Perhaps an extinct dinosaur. Nice. What version is that? NASB. NASB. Nice. I totally agree with that one. You know what? I wish mine said that. Here's what mine says. Possibly a hippopotamus or an elephant. Anybody got anything else?
It says here in the dictionary, a huge or monstrous creature.
A huge or monstrous creature. I agree with, because listen to what it continues to say. What strength he has in his loins, what power in the muscles of his belly. His tail sways like a cedar. That is a large cedar tree. That is not the cedars that we have in Oklahoma. I would put forth maybe a western red cedar in Washington State. Those are big ones. The cedar of Lebanon most likely is what Job is poetically describing a tail like. So let's wait. My Bible down in the footnotes. Please remember, footnotes, not inspired, text inspired. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Be very careful with the study Bibles. Be very careful with the commentaries. Got to remember what's inspired and what's not. Would you ever poetically describe that tail as a large swaying tree? Or just poetically even? No, not a one of us, right? What's the other option in my text? Hippopotamus. You ready? Wait for it. Does that tail say sways like large tree? No, just shake your head with me. That's not even remotely, like that's a scrubby little bush. Now wait. Job continues with this animal that the Lord is showing him right in front of him. And there's more than one of them. Look what it says. So he's got a large tail. The sinews of his thighs are close knit, so his tail is attached right where his thighs are, right? His bones are like tubes of bronze. His limbs are like rods of iron, showing strength. Then verse 19 says, he ranks first among the works of God. Wow. That means he's the largest, biggest land animal, big body, big tail thing that God ever made. What are the largest creatures that have walked the land that we know of? What are they? The sauropods. When I walked into the Field Museum in Chicago, expecting to see Sue, the largest T-Rex, because she used to be right where that dinosaur is, in the Great Hall, when you first come in. She's been moved to the Hall of Evolution. In her place is Patagotitan, a 123-foot-long behemoth. Like when I walked into the hall, I went, oh, behemoth. Because I was looking at that tail. I'm on the second floor taking a picture. That tail is over 35 feet long. Like here, all the way out to where my crates are out there is roughly 35 feet. The processes right there, the bones right there, where his tail connects to his hinder parts, those processes are 5 feet tall. Those bones are 5 feet tall. Put skin and muscle on a 5-foot tall round that's 35 feet long. Is that going to move like would you poetically describe that swaying like a tree? Mm-hmm. The largest thing the Lord has ever made that we know anything about. Job is seeing what, church? He's seeing a dinosaur. He's seeing a sauropod. He's seeing a long neck. Now, some of you are like, well, so? When did Job live in history? Roughly 300 to 500 years post-flood. Roughly the same time as Abraham. We have biblical evidence that says we had long-necked dinosaurs at the time of Abraham. Post-flood. That means mommy and daddy behemoth had to be where during the flood? On the ark. We had to have dinosaurs on the ark, guys. They show up in Scripture. Am I affecting worldviews tonight? So back to that dragon thing, right? Dragons, right? Dragons. They're mythological, right? Why does every civilization have them, though? Notice in the depictions, when you study anything about a dragon in some other culture, notice what the pictures look like. Do they ever have legs that sprawl like our present-day reptiles? No. Their legs are always in the position of what a dinosaur is. St. George, the dragon slayer. maybe he exaggerated. Do we ever exaggerate? Hunters? Fishermen? Anybody? Do we ever exaggerate? Do we ever, we've been known to exaggerate. The fish that got away. The elk, the whatever, right? Every culture, guys. This is in Iraq. How about the Chinese culture? Their culture have anything to do with dragons? You ever heard anything about that? Like everything, okay, revolves around it. I mean, when we go to Chinese restaurants, they try to help the rest of us that aren't Chinese to like know something about their culture, and so they have the placemats. Because they want us to know every year they name every year is named after an animal. In their culture, every year has an animal. I'm a boar, by the way. I was born during the year of the boar. I'm a pig. Okay, so every one of those. Have you ever noticed it? Have you ever went around the place? Like all of them. Rat. Do we have those today? Yep. Oxen, tigers, rabbits, snakes, horse, sheep, monkeys, chickens, roosters, dog, boar, pigs. And then there's dragon. Like the only one that they name a year after that most of us in Western culture would be like, it's not real. Because we've been Disney-fied about a dragon. There's nothing biblical that says we didn't live with them. On the contrary, every civilization having a record of them maybe being exaggerated with certain characteristics. If I want the fair maiden's hand and I want to be the greatest knight ever, but I didn't get him when I went into the forest, what's my story like when I come back? Like, she's beautiful, so like I got to come up with a good one, right? She's going to think I'm courageous, right? Don't tell me that hadn't happened. Dragons. Isn't it interesting that we're finding, Packies, right? The little domed guys over here. I got a head of one over there. But see that little model next to it? The only model I have is that one right next to it. The one next to it is called a Dracorex. Dracorex hogwartsia. When it was found, here is what some guys from Stanford University said. They said Dracorex has a remarkable resemblance to the dragons of ancient China and medieval Europe. Like it looks like a dragon. In Cambodia, there's a stone temple. Some monks and the people of Cambodia, around the time of Jesus, around 1,000 years after Jesus, 1,000 years AD, they're building a stone temple. They carved on their stone temple things they worshipped. They worshipped everything, including this creature, right here on the stone temple. Now, here's what the interesting thing is. If you believe in an evolutionary worldview, I've been told you see either a chameleon or a rhinoceros. Rhinoceros have plates running down their back. Nope, never found one in the fossil record that has plates running down its back. How about a chameleon? Nope. And wait, as my colleague Ryan says all the time when he's sharing this part, he says this, haven't you always had a problem differentiating between a rhino and a chameleon? Aren't those so close together that you're like, could be a rhinoceros, could be a chameleon though too. Like they're really close. No. That's a stegosaurus. That's a fleshed stegosaurus. That's not the fossils of a stegosaurus being carved. Do you know where we first found a stegosaurus on the planet in the fossil record? Anyone? Kansas. That is such a good guess. But not right, man. I'm so sorry. Mostly marine. Listen, I don't think we've ever found any dinosaur in Kansas. Okay? So all marine stuff, all water stuff in Kansas. Okay? In a state that is mostly grassland. Okay, so outside of Denver, Colorado, the first uplift called the Hogback, right on the backside of that is where we found the first pieces of a Stegosaurus. That's a little ways from Cambodia. China. Before Christ, they're carving those in jade. I mean, that is the spitting image of a Protoceratops in the fossil record. I mean, that's like the perfect spitting image of a Protoceratops in jade. Here in North America, Mississippi Caddo Indians made clay pots, and they had long necks as handles. Wow. Here. Please don't tell me we've never lived with them. We absolutely have lived with them. The Bible's right. The history's right. And in Glen Rose, Texas, we have a copy of this in our other collection, our smaller fossil collection. We have a copy of the original. The original is housed at the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas. Glen Rose is known around the world for its dinosaur tracks. And in some of them, the dinosaurs have stepped across a human footprint. Kind of says we've lived together. There's been tests done on this delk print. It's been MRI'd to see if the density underneath the footprints is denser than the material next to the footprint. See, if it's all the same density, then it's been carved. It could have been faked. But the MRI machine said it's actually been stepped on by both the dinosaur and the human. The density is denser underneath the footprints. Huh. Do you trust it? So then a femur bone is found a few years ago. Fossils are what again? How did I start earlier? Fossils are what? Rocks, right? Well, that's kind of what we thought until about 20 years ago. And then this discovery was made. Does that look like a rock under a microscope? Why does it not look like a rock? Because it's stretchy. That is a piece of tissue out of the middle of a T-Rex femur bone. This fellow by the name of Jack Horner. Have you heard of him? Yeah. He's that lead paleontology guy with Jurassic Park and all the above, right? Him and Mary Schweitzer, Mary Schweitzer's the one describing here in 60 Minutes what she found. See, she got to study the middle of the bone. So that, like, the bone was broken, and she got to study the middle of it. And she said this first. She said, the outside looked permineralized or petrified rock. She said the inside didn't. The inside didn't look like rock. And then she said, when I got close to it, it still stunk, as if it was decaying. Now, the rock layer that they got the femur bone out of, it was dated at 90 million years old. Again, class, did they come out of the ground with tags on them? I lived 90 million years ago. Okay. We date the rocks by the fossils, and we date the fossils by the rocks. That's what we learned the other night. That's what geology does. That's what paleontology does. She cut open some of that dinosaur bone and made this discovery for the first time. Blood cells. Red blood cells. So they were air-breathing, land-dwelling, and blood-containing, because we have it. She has went on to find blood in multiple dinosaurs that she's broken open. So there was a pastor in Denver, Colorado, and a creationist. His name is Bob Inyart. You'll see him here on the left-hand side. He finds out about this soft tissue that Jack Horner has and Mary Schweitzer found, and he sends them a letter. He says this in the letter. He says, I want to give you, Jack, $10,000. Do with that money whatever you want to do, because I want to pay for that soft tissue to be carbon tested. Okay, class. What's the maximum threshold of age with carbon dating? 50,000 years. See, Bob knows that. That's why he wants to send to see if this 90 million year old piece of dinosaur is really 90 million years old. Because if it has a percentage of modern carbon in it, it's not going to date 90 million years old. Never hears anything from Jack. So he calls him one day when he's on his radio talk show in Denver, Colorado.
What did he say?
You're about to hear it. Here's how it starts. It's an 8-minute conversation. Parents, teachers, if you want to Google it and find it, you can. I'm warning you. There is language that you shouldn't use. Because as I've said all weekend, this is not about science. It's not about science. Bob gets on, introduces himself to Jack. Jack's saying nothing. He is quiet as crickets. He's even quieter than crickets. And here's what Bob says. Hey, what if I can get you $25,000? Like, did you even get my letter? You know, and Jack's totally quiet. He says, what if I can get you more money? Will you do the test? That's where this picks up. Are you listening? Jack will be the first one. He's just offered him more money, Jack more money, to do the test. Here's what he says.
Let me tell you where I'm coming from here.
Sure.
All right? Obviously, your group is a group of creationists.
Yes.
And the spin they can get off of it,
Right.
doing it, is
Well,
not going to help us.
Yeah. So even though it's just a scientific test, they're not asking for voodoo.
It's not actually a scientific test. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Carbon-14 dating something with soft tissue in it.
And that's when I have to cut it off. Jack gets mad. He gets really mad.
Which one is
Jack's the one on the right. He gets really mad. He never did the test. He never took him up on it. You know what? If I was convictional in my worldview, I would have asked for $100,000. Like, what do I have to lose? If I know what I believe is right, why am I fearing a test? Like, that makes zero sense to me for him to decline that test. Because he's already shocked that he even has red blood cells or soft tissue. He has no way to explain it in a 90 million year old bone. Both of those things, they'll decay, they'll go away. Even buried during a flood 4,300 years ago, you understand how great that is in 4,300 years to still have that. But I'm walking through Jack's museum. I'm looking at all the specimens, and I come to this one. Do you see the bones? Yes. That is like it's about this big. It's about this big, and it's about that thick, and that is a pile of dinosaur bones together in one rock. And I recognize the number. It's called. They always have a number. Fossils in museums that hold numbers if they're the actual ones, and they're usually listed on the signs. And this one was MOR 548. As soon as I saw that number, my brain went click. Woo! Here's why. See, we don't just have red blood cells. We don't just have soft tissue. We have DNA. I'm walking through his museum. He was one of the first to discover DNA in a nucleus of a cell in a dinosaur. Something he stated on a TED Talk that I don't have to show to you, but you can Google it, that he literally said there's no way we're going to make a Jurassic Park because we would have to have DNA and we'd have to have other stuff. And there's no way we'll ever find that. He did. And you want to see the bone he found it in? That one right there, that little one. I'm standing in this museum by myself. I'm going through this. I'm always doing stuff by myself. I don't know why. But I was by myself in the museum, and I'm the weird older guy going, whoa, yeah, look at that. Everybody else is like, what is wrong with him? Let's get our kids over here. Because it hit me in my head. I recognized the 548 because I've read the paper that shows us the DNA on the upper slides. Identifiable DNA from a Hypacrosaurus. I caught Hypacrosaurus on the sign and then I saw the 548. I went, no. And I immediately Googled to check myself. Is that the paper? I pulled up his paper. MOR 548, that bone, dinosaur DNA, sitting in that case. I was a tad more excited than everybody else. They must have missed the paper. DNA. See, that's what I was waiting on. Always one. So that mean we make Jurassic Park? Well, right now, off the coast of Costa Rica. No, I'm just kidding. So sorry. No. So I brought this fellow up the other night. Dr. Brian Thomas. He helped us. He helped us take this bone right here. This is an actual fossil. This is a portion of a leg bone of one of those guys, an Edmontosaurus. Here, hold this one too. Ready? Oh, has some weight to it. That means it's been permanentalized to an extent, right? That doesn't feel like just a bone, right? It doesn't feel like a bone, right? It's got some weight. It's got some weight to it. Okay? Come on. One more. Here, stretch. Okay. Hang on. Hold on, class. Just a second. Here, feel it. That's an actual dinosaur bone. Okay. Whew. All right. Kind of hard. Do you see anything on my bone that I have here? A hole. In this image, we are trying to decide where to drill the hole. See, Dr. Thomas's research, not only did he do the carbon testing that I showed the other night, his actual main research, his doctoral work was in finding collagen. Collagen. In ancient things. That's the title of his paper. He got it at a secular university. He couldn't say in biblical things. Collagen. Come on, do this with me. Students, focus. I'm almost done. It's almost bedtime. I know. You're excited about that. You notice how it stretches, kind of comes back? All the grandparents in the room, ours aren't stretching like it used to. This is what you have to look forward to, okay? Actually, I'm a little dehydrated, I think, too. That's probably not helping. Collagen is in our skin. It's in our hair. It's in our bones. It's like a major, look at me, focus. It's a major building block of our entire body. It's what God used to design our body with, right? So it seems to reason that we find it in other animals, we should be able to find it in dinosaurs. So Dr. Thomas originally stole my fossil from me. He drilled this hole first. It was okay. We had talked about it. Okay. But he said, Matt, I really want to do it again, my test. Would you like to be there? I said, yeah, absolutely. So we picked the spot. We drilled the hole. Hang on. How far in is it? Does it go all the way into the middle of the dinosaur bone? No. It's only in maybe half of an inch, class. Back there in the back, you can't see. Half inch. Not even in the middle. We were trained by Dr. Thomas and the other lab techs to take that sample, then put it on microscope slides. Microscope slides, right? Everybody know what a microscope slide is? We affix it to microscope slide. Then we have to take the microscope slide. We put it on the end of a stick with a suction cup. And then there's these little round tables. See these little round things right here? See these? See those little things right there? Those are spinning sandpaper with water on them. And you have to take the slide with the dinosaur bone on it, and you get it down in there, and then you got to press it just enough to sand it so it makes it really thin, so you can put light through it. Put light through a bone, okay? Here's how I did it. I'm doing it there. What the picture's not showing, mine kept coming off. I'm like, my slide. Dr. Thomas next to me, he's just like, you got a problem, Matt? I'm just like, it's like, come on, man. What am I doing wrong? He's like, you're pressing too hard, man. Cut it. I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. So he's training me how to do this. Then we go to this very special microscope. You see me sitting at the microscope with Dr. Thomas? This guy here, this is our founder of our ministry. He was able to come and join us. He had begun to have dementia. But Diane, his wife, I said, I really want Doc there. He said, well, we'll come down to Glen Rose. So he was there with me. You put the slide on the table there in the microscope, and here's what you're looking for, see? What you're looking for is, you're looking for the golds and the browns. The golds and the browns, they have to turn bright blue. When we see bright blue on this microscope, that is the presence of actual collagen. Not fossilized collagen. Actual presence of collagen. I got a tad excited as I was spinning the slide that you see on the screen when it went to that. Now, in front of me, you saw me at that microscope, right? Behind a window. In front of that window is like a bunch of people that came to the museum that day. This lab is in a museum in Glen Rose, Texas. It's a dinosaur lab. And I'm there, and I'm getting, wow, I'm like going nuts, right? And the people on the other side of the glass are like, what's going on? And so that one of the lab techs is out there trying to explain why I'm going insane. Because they're seeing what you're seeing right there up on TVs above me outside in the gallery. Guys, this bone right here. This bone has collagen in it. You know what that means? Can't be millions of years old. It means that the history of 6,000 years of a flood burying things that were not on the ark 4,300 years ago is way more than plausible. Are you hearing me? Like, I've asked Dr. Thomas, what's the likelihood? You've done this longer than I have. I asked Dr. Thomas just recently. I said, what's the likelihood in the middle of this bad boy I've got red blood cells? He said, Matt, that's not my area. I said, you've been around it. He said, Matt, I think you have a good likelihood to have red blood cells in this one. Non-fossilized core. He said, it's big enough, it's massive enough. I said, okay, all right. So that's what I'm getting ready to do next. Test that for red blood cells. It's a way bigger deal, way longer test, all the above. What happened to them? See, that's the question somebody's going to ask me. I mean, if we have them in the Bible, we've lived with them. The ones in the fossil record died during the flood, along with everything else in the fossil record. Beavers and bison and like other stuff we have today. Isn't it a picky asteroid to just kill the dinosaurs, but not the alligators, turtles, mammals, birds? Birds. We have birds with dinosaurs. They did not evolve. Dinosaurs did not evolve into birds. Look at me. Look at me. Eyeballs. Eyeballs. I don't care what you've heard somewhere else. I don't care what movie you've seen. I don't care what museum you've been to. I don't care. I want you to care about this. This says he made birds the day before he made dinosaurs. I have to believe that wasn't by accident, church. He knew what kind of crazy little ideas coming down the pipe. He's like, I'm going to mess with that. I'm going to make the birds first. We find birds with and below dinosaurs in the fossil record. So how are they going to evolve into birds if we have them buried below them? Check me on that. Yeah, we don't hear that. We just hear dinosaurs evolved into birds. Dinosaurs evolved into birds. Here's the story. There's the story. National Geographic. That's the story. That's the timeline. See it? See it? Dinosaurs left side, birds on the right side. Here's what they... Woo! I still wasn't going to go there, but I'm there. because I'm way out of time. Listen to me. Look at me. When you go to the next time you go to a museum and you see a chart like this, listen, they're showing up in every natural history museum. Every one of them now has a chart like this. Look at me. Notice what you don't see on the chart. There are no dates to how old each one of those individual things are. Can I show you why you will never see the date on there? Are you ready? I'm going to put the dates up of where in the fossil record, according to an evolutionary worldview of history, the dates of the rocks by evolution, of where they find each one of these samples. Are you ready? The bigger the number means it's where? Further down. The smaller the number means it's closer to the top of the earth, right? So further down is deeper, supposed to be older. What's the oldest thing up there? 147 million year old Archaeopteryx. This guy, right here. It's a bird. Everybody agrees it's a bird, but it's found deeper than all the others that they're supposed to evolve from. It would be like you giving birth to your great-grandmother. How does that sit with you? Are you connecting the dots now? That's what that says. That's what that story says. Guess what's not possible? You're not going to give birth to your great-grandma. It's not going to happen. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you connecting? I got those dates off of, I went to the papers where we first found those dinosaurs, where we find them in the fossil record. I looked for the date in the paper that gives me how old that guy is, and that's why I got those dates. That story's not fitting. Have you guys heard that they've evolved into birds? Have you come across that anywhere? Have you ever heard that before?
I haven't heard birds before.
Oh, you haven't heard birds? What have you heard?
Turned into
Random
random things.
things, okay. Generally speaking, in most students that I'm teaching, somebody's heard chicken. Chicken's always the one who gets brought. Is that the one you've heard? The dinosaurs turned into a chicken. Isn't that interesting? A chicken. Not even a big bird, not even an ostrich, not even an emu, not even anything. A chicken. Chicken. It brings a whole new concept to those pre-chewed chicken nuggets. Anyways. So asteroids, always argued, right? Did you know there's actually scientific papers about volcanic activity that killed the dinosaurs? That means not everybody agrees. When you have a scientific paper about another option, that means not everybody agrees on the asteroid. You know what? There's been papers that have suggested that a flood killed the dinosaurs. Oh, we're getting closer now. Here's a paper that's been published. I thought you guys in New Mexico would appreciate this one. No, legit. There's two different papers, scientific papers that have been published, that aliens came to the planet at some point in history during the time of the dinosaurs. One version says they blasted them, killed them, whacked them. The other says they brought a virus that killed them. Interesting. Here's one of my favorites. Scientific paper. Long-necked dinosaurs ate vegetation. When you eat vegetation, you have gas. I don't know how else to say it, right? So they're measuring cows in a feed yard, how much vegetation they eat, and then they measure how much gas comes out the backside. And then they go, well, that much gas is produced by this big of a massive animal. So when you upgrade the mass, and then you say, well, they're going to eat that much more of that, and you're going to get that much more gas, and they probably just killed things around them. Somebody sent me that one. My favorite part is the stick of dynamite floating in the water, like they're lobbing dynamite sticks. Can I give you some thoughts? You know, our climate after the flood was most likely drastically changed. You're a very large-bodied, cold-blooded reptile that now the temperatures have changed. That's going to be tricky for you. How about those that are still eating vegetables and vegetarians. And we have less plants after the flood, immediately after the flood. If you don't find your food, what happens to you? You're done. Guys, it's not like dinosaurs are the only thing that we're pretty sure about that are extinct. We've lost all kinds of stuff. But see, in our worldview, they always get lumped into a different time period. Different story. Different worldview. I lean very heavily on the bottom one. If a T-Rex comes walking through my garden, as if I had a garden, I don't have a garden. Let's say it goes through Bob's garden. Bob has a huge garden at home. And looks at one of his kids as food. What's Bob going to do? Bob's, by the way, from Louisiana, if you didn't know. He's going to eat him. That's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to do. He's going to eat him. That's kind of what folks in Louisiana do with reptiles. They eat them. Anyways, we have a tendency to take out things. We almost destroyed bison on this continent. Trying to take out a certain people group. Like, we've done lots of things. Why not dinosaurs? We have depictions of that. Every civilization has a depiction of that. I hope I've helped connect some dots tonight, but I want to leave you with this verse. You ready? Focus. Eyeballs. Students, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Focus. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Verse 21. Apostle Paul writes this. For since death came through a dinosaur. Oh, wait, that's not what it says. Saying if you're paying attention. For since death came through a man, so death got to the planet how? By man. By what with man? Sin. Death came through sin, right? Through man. The resurrection of the dead comes also through a man. Verse 22. For as in Adam all die, so in Christ all will be made alive. Alive. In your worldview, if you have the death of blood-containing creatures, millions of years before Adam and Eve in your history, the first man, you have a physical problem with the cross, and you've never acknowledged that before. Let me state it again. If you have blood-containing dinosaurs dying by an asteroid 66 million years ago, before man shows up, even if you're saying God did all this, didn't make Adam until 65 million years later, you have blood-containing creatures with death before sin. If death was here before sin, what good is the physical death of Christ on the cross? Like, he wouldn't have had to do that. If death was already here, he could have just done something extra spiritual and just went, all right, everybody, symbolically die with me. You're good. It's not what he did. He took and paid the ransom for our sin by going to the cross and shedding his innocent, perfect blood of an image bearer to cover our sin. And didn't stay dead in the tomb, but rose. Because it's really hard to give life when you're dead. But my Creator and my Savior isn't dead. He's alive. Don't let these guys try to tell you otherwise. Don't let the story of these guys tell you the Bible's history is wrong. Simply not true. Lord, tonight in this place, as we've studied these creatures we call dinosaurs, I can't wait to find out what you called them. What Adam called them. First thing. Lord, tonight as we've studied dinosaurs, Lord, first I pray for these students in front of me. Lord, I pray that they will continually seek after truth in their life. Or that they will start by studying your word that is trustworthy. Lord, I pray tonight for the parents of these students and others. Lord, please give them wisdom. Lord, give them knowledge when they need knowledge. Supernaturally give them knowledge where they have to go, where did that come from? Lord, the grandparents in the room, Lord, encourage them, exhort them. Please remind them they are not done. You are not done with them, and they are not done. We need them. Lord, the great-grandparents in the room, oh, they may be looking forward to going home. Tell them they're not done. Lord, I praise you tonight for who you are in your word, that it is trustworthy and true. And even when we do science, it shows it. Lord, thank you for these great creatures. So weird, so odd from other things we have. But I know you made them. And you made them for us to understand. It's in your Son's name that I pray. Amen. Blessings, guys. Listen, if you want to take pictures, please take them quickly. We have to pack tonight. So take pictures. All kinds of resources out there on the table that has to do with dinosaurs. All ages, from itty-bitty all the way up, okay? Bob will answer questions out there. I'm going to hang out, take questions. Thank you for being here.